What's up, everybody? The Snake, Texas Light Infantry. Over the last 2 years, I have spent a lot of time and money trying out different vests, chest rigs, pod packs, just generally investigating about every setup for carrying your equipment, your pods, radios, what have you, that you can find on the market. And I have tested, actually playing in scenarios. I have read several studies that were done by the U.S. Army about load-bearing equipment and its effects on soldiers. And I really didn't have a lot of guidance on what was going to work best, what people know, what they know to not do. So I had to just do it myself. And so I'm hoping that maybe I can help provide some guidance to some of you who are maybe just getting into the sport. I know you veteran players have your setups that you love, but some of the newer players may really benefit from some of my experiences. So we'll get into it. This first rig is probably the most common. This particular model, this is a Vulcan Crusade. What is this, a 4+5 pod pack? And this is like their mid-grade. There's a higher grade, the Redemption stuff. I bought this before that came out. There's nothing wrong with this. This is a perfectly good setup. You'll see probably most players using these. Just a simple belly strap. Adjustable many different ways. Get it onto your lower back. It allows you to breathe. It's nice and cool. What's the problem? What's the drawbacks? My first thing is, where do I put my radio? Every time I put one of these on, I have nowhere to put my radio. And comms are huge, especially to our team, but to most scenario teams, your comms are huge. So you're left with, maybe a radio in your pocket. It just really, where are you going to put water bottles? You could probably use one of the elastic bands if you wanted to. If you carry grenades, Nerf rockets, where do you put your map? Where do you put your mission cards? Flashlights, anything else that you might want to carry on the field? You're going to have to put them in pockets, and that may be perfectly okay with you. So there's nothing wrong with this setup. But I prefer to have my radio closer because I end up having to change channels a lot. I don't want it in my pocket. So let's move up sort of the evolutionary ladder, so to speak. And what you've got is, it's a little bit of a hybrid. And this is, I'm not going to put this on. It's not set up for me. This is CoverGirl, so it's a little too short for me. This is a Vulcan pod pack, definitely a lower quality, lower grade of pod pack than the Crusade that I just showed you. A little bit flimsier. It does allow you to carry a vertical tank. So if you want to run remote, you've got a tank pouch right here. 6 pods. Now, belly band, just like on the Crusade pod pack. What I did was attach in a Condor H harness to it, and that allows to add a radio pouch. You could even put a horizontal tank harness on the back, or tank pouch on the back if you wanted to, or you could even hook a Camelback carrier there. This is fine, super lightweight. It combines the pod pack with an H harness, so it's a little more stable. Allows a little bit more MOLLE to add additional pouches. You can add other things that you couldn't to just a pod pack, and stabilized with the sternum strap, which would clamp right here. Nothing wrong with this setup, but if you're going to do this, they make something better. So moving up the chain again, you get this. This is a Vulcan Echo vest. This takes this concept of a pod pack and an H harness and integrates it into one piece. See, while this is just lashed together with webbing through D-rings, this is actually one solid piece. So now I've got a pod pack, I've got Molly for, I don't know what we got in here, we've got a squeegee, radio, probably an ID pouch. On the back, there's Molly to add remote tank. This style of vest, and now Vulcan's gone up to the Bravo vest, which has a little bit different pouch, little different pod carrier setup. Very common, you'll see tons of these. This is a great configuration. There's nothing wrong with this. It keeps your gear snug to your body. That's what's so great about these big elastic Velcro bands around your belly, is it keeps gear snug to you. It doesn't flop around, and it's actually an ideal load-bearing configuration. Another little feature, if you wanted to put a like a back name patch or something, you could do that. Very common vest, excellent vest. Nothing bad to say about that configuration at all. Moving up, now we've moved up into the more integrated, complete one-piece vest. You get into the tactical vests. This is a Wrap 4 Tac 10 vest. It's all mesh to help. The actual vest itself is mesh, and that's to help with breathability. Got some inside pockets here. Interesting thing about this vest, unlike some others, most of them have Molly all the way around them, so you can configure your pouches how you want. The Tac 10 vest uses a combination of Velcro and snaps. Now you can get different pouches, you can set this up a little bit different, but it's not super customizable. Most of these patches of Velcro are designed to fit a specific pouch. So strap this on. Now instead of the big belly band, you've got zippers. Well, first off, you've got a rigger's belt. Clip that. Zip it up. Clip it, clip it. I mean, this thing is on you. So now I've got a cross draw holster. I've got 3 pods here. I've got ID bag, ID pouch, kind of a general purpose pouch, radio pouch. On the back, got several inverted pod carriers there. I use this a lot, you can tell by looking at it, and I really can't stand these. The reason is, it's like being in a body cast. You can let all this out. It's got adjustments here. You can let all this out so that you can breathe more, and you can actually crouch. I mean, in this thing, you can't crouch at the waist unless you let it all out. Well, if you let it all out, now it's flopping around. And remember, I talked about this belly strap holding everything nice and snug is an ideal configuration. You don't want all this flopping around. You don't want it hanging on your shoulders. You want your pelvis to be able to support some of this weight. So having this thing real loose is really not helping you. But then snugging it up tight, it constricts your breathing. If you go for a good sprint, you go through a good run through, you can't catch your breath afterwards, or at least I I have overheated this thing so many times just because I couldn't catch my breath. You'll see a ton of these. Some people like them. I often think that it's just because they haven't tried anything else. I personally don't like it anymore. And so that is the first 4. Mostly these 4 have been made for paintball. That wasn't enough for me. I wanted to investigate some of my own creations. So now we'll get into non-paintball stuff, my own little concoctions. This was one of my earliest creations, taking some of the same ideas that I've seen in the paintball specific stuff. This is all real tactical gear. Well, most of it is, other than some of the pouches. What you've got here is a Condor battle belt. It's a big padded belt, but you actually have to add a rigger's belt to it so that you can clamp it. And another, again, the Condor H harness. That's the basic structure. Let's put it on so you can get a better idea. So again, with the harness, I've got Molly, able to put a radio pouch. I've got a couple little general purpose pouch here, medic pouch here, just because I like some of the compartments. Got pod pack in the back. Seems to be just like some of the other configurations we've seen, like the Echo Vest, same basic idea. This was the worst creation I ever came up with. I really can't explain it, but this thing is like strapping on kryptonite. It absolutely drains my energy. It hangs on me too much. Either I have to tighten this belt, as you can see right now, I have to snug this belt up real tight, or it just hangs on my shoulders and it just drains energy from you. If I could do this again, I wouldn't. Seems like a good idea, especially with the padded battle belt. Got the horizontal tank carrier here. Seems like it's putting all the weight onto your pelvis. Maybe that's a good platform. Here to tell you it's not. It will make your hips and thighs tired. Not a good setup. So, took the lessons learned there and decided, you know what I really want is something that's stable platform, but I want to be able to breathe. I don't want a tactical vest, can't breathe in that. I started studying more about, scientific research that was done, and one of the things to do is get the load up higher on you. It seems like lower would take some of the weight, the stress off of your upper body, but getting it up higher, especially onto your upper back, really helps. And if you think about it, when you're a kid and you were walking with a backpack, and maybe you had, the really long straps and it was hanging down, if it gets really heavy, what do? You pop it up. Pop it up so it goes from the middle of your back up higher on your back, and you can carry the weight better. And so one of my goals was to get the weight up higher on my body. It also allows you to crouch better. So the next configuration that I investigated was Condor Recon Rig. Condor Recon Rig is in a class of load-bearing vests called chest rigs. So you see, there's really nothing to the back. The back is just straps. Everything's on the front. Again, here's the back. Just going over some of the features. Radio pouch. They call this a T pouch. This is an administrative pouch. pretty cool. Has a lot of different features to it. You can put a map inside of it, inside this nice little plastic protector. Got long pod carriers here. And in the front, it came with these shorter, these would be like double M4 mag pouches. And I took out the the divider in the middle, pulled that out. So you still got this kangaroo pouch that I can put shorter pods in. And you go, okay, you've got 140s there, you've got 100s in the front. That's kind of ridiculous, isn't it? But you forget, the main marker that I use has a 250 ball loader on it, so I can put a 140, a 100, now I'm full. I don't have to go full 140, most of another 140, but still have 40 balls in there bouncing around while I'm trying to be quiet. So this allows me to dump 2 pods into my loader and go. Now, this is probably my second favorite rig. I've worn this a lot. It's very light, I can breathe in it real well. It's got just about everything that I want on it. What's it missing? A remote pouch. Can't put a remote pouch on this. If I want to run light, be aggressive, or be sneaky, I go tank on the gun, put this on, don't worry about a remote. I'm not running my Havoc launcher or anything else. This is just a tremendous, very cool. My upper body can ventilate very well with this. It's easy to take on and off. Again, this is a Condor Recon rig. Now, putting the T-pouch in the middle like that is kind of my own little deal. Most people would not have something around their chest. This thing is really just what they call a cummerbund. Comes right around here. You can see, you can get these without the built-in pouches. You can get them with just MOLLE straight across. One thing I would like to mention, these are RAP4 pod carriers, pod packs, and they're not very impressive. The reason is, it's just flimsy. It's flimsy nylon. So many times, and it's got this long Velcro flap on it. So when you're reloading, a lot of times, you pull out your pod, this falls back, you reload, you have to reopen it. When you go to jam your pod in, if you can see if we can simulate, this lip will oftentimes, it's not gonna do it now, fold in on you like that. And when that happens, it's extremely frustrating. I don't want to throw my pod on the ground because I get sand in it. Then I have to clean it out. Otherwise I get sand on my paintballs, and then I get sand into my loader and into my marker. I want to be able to load, put this back in, the empty pod back into the pack, and close this up without having to fiddle with it too much. If I was going to do this again, and I'm going to do this eventually, I would replace these with a higher quality of pod pack. That leads us to the final and definitely the coolest of them all. My latest addition to the collection. This is a BDS Tactical Vehicle Operators rig. Now, BDS Tactical is just a cool company. It's an American company. They hand make these on demand. You order it, then they make it. They send you email updates throughout the manufacturing process as they create your custom rig. And it's custom because there's a lot of different options, and you can choose to have certain pouches sewn on to the rig rather than just have MOLLE. Now, keep in mind, this is made for real operators. This is not a paintball rig. So there's not going to be an option to have pod packs sewn on. You're going to have to go with mostly MOLLE. Now I did have them sew 2 GP pouches on the side, general purpose pouches, just because you always need another little dump pouch or pouch to carry Nerf rockets in or something like that. The other thing is, since it is made for real operators, this thing is made to go over body armor. It's cut big. If you're much slimmer than me and I'm a size 34, you cannot adjust this thing tight enough. I had to get a little creative with the straps to get it even tight enough for me. It's adjustable 1, 2, 3, 4, here 5, 6, and not so much here, but a little bit in the front, 7, 8. So it's adjustable in multiple places, but as you can see, I mean, I'm 6'2", 215, and I've got it snugged in all the way. This is not gonna work for everybody. If you're a bigger guy, probably work great for you. Now, this one's a little bit trickier to put on. Let y'all see my bald head. Bald head can go away for a little while. Now again, you see it's up higher. I got everything up higher. I can bend easily. I can crouch easily. Nothing's binding up or getting in the way. Now, as for pod packs, I was talking about, you know, how crappy some pod packs are. These are Vulcan VTAC pod packs, and these are great. Why? If you can see, this is not flimsy. The opening has a nice rigid plastic support to it. So when I'm pulling, it stays open. I can do this all day. Pull out, reload, put it back. There's none of that pinching up and binding up. All in all, I can carry 10 pods if I use these elastic loops as well. It's got tons of internal pockets. I've got an entire administrative pouch here. I've got pins, I've got notepads in there. I've added another pouch. Got a tack light, laser pointer. On the side here, I've added some grenade pouches. It's great to have your paint grenades handy. Got some pistol mags here. Reload the TPX. On the back, Vulcan vertical tank pouch. I can run my Ninja double remote line. So I've got my Havoc launcher. I've got the tactical axe ready to go. This, it's got good wide straps on it. Remember this one? This battle belt that I was saying was so terrible. Look at the difference in the width of the H harness. If you can see that, it's probably a good 40 to 50% wider than those. So you get better load bearing, better weight distribution on your shoulders, much more comfortable. This is not cheap, but it comes with a lifetime warranty. The stitching goes out, something like that, send it back, they repair it, comes back. I mean, it's not for everybody, but as you see, I have tried over the years many different configurations. This takes the best aspects of the recon rig and adds, instead of this X webbing on the back, it adds some molly so that I can put my remote line. Again, gone through a lot of different vests, 7 or 8 different vests today. If I had to say what's the best overall configuration for the price, for comfort, for durability, I'm gonna go with the Vulcan Echo or Vulcan Bravo vest every time. That's gonna work for just about everybody. Start there. If you wanna go some other direction, of course you can, but I just don't think you're gonna go wrong with those vests. This is Snake, thanks for watching.